hate myself. I 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 hate myself. I'm a glutton for punishment. 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 Why? Why do it? Why do it? I'm doing it. I can't help myself.
Fake Paul! Woo! Oh yeah, you lost to a reality star. A reality star lost to a reality star. Woo! Oh yeah! Logan, why don't you fight his brother? You were talking all that smack, Logan. And I want some PED tests right now. I want some PED tests right now. Tommy, Tommy, Tommy.
And then this weekend, I had to make the hard decision. I had to make the very hard decision this weekend if I was going to torture myself and waste my hard-earned $49.99 on yet another fake Paul boxing match. Fake Paul boxing match. And I'll be honest, some people are like, no, Mike Rapp, this is all fake. This is not real. You're making it up. I'll be honest, I was sincerely thinking about not watching the fake Paul versus Tommy Fury boxing match. And I know you're probably going, that's not true, Mike, because you say that all the time. But if it had been warmer out, I might have missed it. I might have missed it. There's no football. There was some NBA games on. It was just a little bit too brisk for me to be out and about at, I don't know, fight time was about 5 o'clock. It's a little too chilly on a Sunday. I like to decompress Sunday afternoons. I like to decompress. I like to get focused on the Real Housewives of Anywhere. This week was the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 2. Said to my wife, I said, babe, will you watch the fight with me? And my wife said affectionately, no. Why are you going to do it to yourself once again? Why are you going to watch another Jake Paul fight? And she said, quote unquote, you know he's going to win. But inevitably, I made a game time decision and I wasted, well, I'll go back to wasted that $49.99. I spent the $49.99 on fake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is Tyson Fury's brother. Tyson Fury, who's, what a career. What a life Tyson Fury has. Heavyweight champion, beat out of my guy Deontay Wilder. I mean, the last time was terrible. Anyway, spent the $49.99 and first of all, fake Paul, who's Mr. Women's Boxing, and I'm not just. Let me just do my precursor up top. Jake and his brother Larry, they've made a career out of nothing. You have to give it to them. You have to hand it to them. These guys have made, they're literally rich enough to retire and never work again. Respect. 150% respect. These guys are smart. They're savvy. They're tenacious businessmen. They believe in themselves when nobody probably would or should. But in all seriousness, nothing but respect for the business that they have created. True hustlers, true pioneers. They used social media to their advantage in all different facets. That's the respect I'm giving you. That's at the top. I'm not saying the R word again. Because people are like, well, you're a hater. I am not. First of all, I'm a fan. Second of all, I'm a critique. Third of all, I'm a disruptive warrior. But I am a fan, and I am a boxing fan. The word fan comes from fanatic. Just like sometimes I get a little crazy about hip-hop. Some of my great rants. Defending all things hip hop. I'm like the hip hop police because I'm a fan. I'm a fanatic, just like the NBA All-Star Game. Fan, fanatic. They say, fanatic, are you nuts? You tell me. You make the decision. Am I nuts? That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide. Huh? Do I look nuts? Do I look crazy to you? Huh? I don't feel crazy. I feel good. Like I said earlier, I look good. But whether I'm nuts or not, that is up for you to decide. That's a snap technique, by the way. You steal it, I'll sue you. But I love boxing. Like so many other people, I grew up watching so many fights on ABC, Wide World of Sports, the great Howard Cosell. Whether it was the Ali fights, the Sugar Ray Leonard fights, whether it was the random fights, whether it was the Boom Boom Mancini fights, the ESPN fights, the Mike Tyson fights, the Alexis Arguello fights, the Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, the Tommy Hearns, random fights, the Hector Macho Camacho fights, hearing my father talk about going to see Jake LaMotta versus Sugar Ray Robinson at the Garden, hearing my grandmother talk about bringing my father to go see fights in Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Boxing it was a mainstream sport. Whether it's movies, Rocky, Raging Bull. I've always been inspired by fighters, and the sport of boxing is something that up until the last, I don't know how many years ago, we're not fact-checking, was a mainstream sport that people would gather around to watch together, communally. And these fights, most of the time, they would entertain and they would live up to the expectations. Whether it's the Holyfield-Riddick Bowe fights, like I said, the Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Part 1, Part 2, the No Mas fight, going to see Muhammad Ali versus Larry Holmes in Radio City Music Hall, the Mark Breland fights, the Pernell Whitaker fights, the Meldrick Taylor fights, the Iran Barkley fights. I mean, the list goes on and on, and I'm not, it goes on and on and on and on and on. I'm a boxing fan, AKA a fanatic. So when I see the sport being spit on, when I see the sport being belittled, manufactured, contrived, the way it has been manufactured and contrived by fake Paul, Jake Paul, I get upset. Now, is he bringing attention to boxing? Yes. But is it the right way? I don't think so. Now, I will say this. 5 friends of mine shamefully admitted that they also paid their hard-earned $49.99 to watch this spectacle. And these are guys that when you go to dinner with them, they won't even pull out a $20 bill to pay for... These are guys that are slow to go into the pocket. So I was not alone. 5 of my friends paid their hard-earned money to watch this show. Let's call it what it is. It was a show. There was no women fighting Mr. Women's Boxing because the fight was in Saudi Arabia. Why was the fight in Saudi Arabia? Because that's probably where he can make the most money. But I thought you were Mr. Women's Boxing. You've done more for women's boxing than I have. But when it was time to keep the women aside, Mr. Women's Boxing, you went over to Saudi Arabia and you fought that fight. Some were calling it blood money. I ain't speaking on that. Now, I will say that the fight before Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, were other cruiserweights. Cruiserweights, I believe, are between the weight of 175 and 190 pounds. This is when they're in shape. So these are guys that are walking around at 215, 220 pounds when they're not in great boxing shape. Some of the great cruiserweights of all time, Evander Holyfield, Antonio Tarver, James Tonio, Dwight Muhammad Qawi. Evander Holyfield started off as a cruiserweight. The fight before the Jake Paul fight was also cruiserweights. If you watched the event, Badu Jack, great name. Badu Jack. That's like a rapper's name. I don't know if that's his real name, but that's a rapper's name. Badu Jack. Ticking all rhymes, it ain't whack. Blah, 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 blah. Clackety clack. That could be a rapper's name. He fought the dude Magabu. Another rapper. Yo, that could be like just a rapper's name. Yo, I'm Magabu from the Bronx. Throw it up. Those dudes were cruiserweights. Just to give you an idea what cruiserweight fight. And those are not, although Badu Jack is a champion, those are not the best of the best cruiserweights. But just give you an idea what other cruiserweights look like. Jake Paul is fighting at the cruiserweight division. And Tommy Fury, respectfully. It's messed up. Tommy Fury should be the headliner now. He won. But this whole Jake Paul thing, this is cosplay. It's cosplay boxing. It's dress up. It's manufactured. The WBC, I believe it's the World Boxing Council, for some reason created a belt to give out to the winner of the Tommy Fury Jake Paul fight. This is an exhibition match. This is not a real fight. This is a sparring session. And Jake Paul, before the fight, he said that. He said it's another sparring session. You got to listen to what people say. They will tell you who they are and what it is if you listen. The pre-fight interview, Jake Paul said, it's another sparring session. I got another fish on the line. And I feel great. He said, I feel great. Had a great training camp, no injuries, no nothing. But he told us it's another sparring session because championship fights are 12 rounds. Sanctioned fights, 12 rounds, sometimes 10 rounds, not 8 rounds. That's an exhibition match. But they created a belt. Also, Jake Paul's been walking around with this custom-made belt that costs $500,000. This is cosplay. This is dress up. I could go to Target right now. In the toy section, they have belts. I could walk around with a belt and be like, I'm Michael Rapaport. I'm a boxer. This is my champ. This is what he's doing. It's dress up. You got Michael Buffer out there. You paid Mike Tyson. You paid Deontay Wilder and some other people to show up. Dress up. This is an exhibition match. You think Mike Tyson flew to Saudi Arabia on his own? Mike Tyson? To watch you, fake Paul, fight Tommy Fury? No disrespect to Tommy Fury. He ain't that dude either. But he has more experience than fake Paul as a boxer. They're the same age, same size. But do not get it twisted. This is low-end exhibition sparring that we paid $49.99 for. That's why you need Mike Tyson to show up. You need Deontay Wilder to show up. It's a freak show. Cosplay, dress up, boxing on a Sunday afternoon in Saudi Arabia. But like I said, fake Paul, the pre-fight interview, he said it's another sparring session. And the announcer who goes by the name Radio Raheem, homeboy, the only Radio Raheem that should ever be mentioned is the one from Do the Right Thing, the late, great Bill Nunn. Love, hate. Who calls himself Radio Raheem? That's a fictional character that Spike Lee created. These are the people that were announcing the fight. They were giving verbal hand jobs to Jake Paul the entire afternoon. He's this, he's that. He's that, he's this, that, and the third. They were all there playing their parts for Jake Paul. Now, I will say, when Jake Paul came out, when he walked into the ring, they had a little montage, audio montage of people criticizing Jake Paul. And who appeared in the audio montage of people criticizing Jake Paul? Me, the disruptive warrior. Me, the Sultan of Sniff. Me, Michael Rapaport, the Gringo Mandingo. While Jake Paul is walking out in the ring, I am living rent-free in his head. They had me, they quoted me from this here I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast saying, fake Paul, you're not a real fighter. They could have chose anybody because everybody talked about Jake Paul, but they chose me saying, fake Paul, you're not a real fighter. I was flattered. I'm waiting, though. Where's my check, man? Everybody's making money. You using my audio to walk out into the ring? Am I living rent-free in your head? Yes, I am. Literally, while you're walking out in the ring, you're using my voice as motivation. Well, I got a lot of more. Oh, I got a whole bunch more for you and your brother, Larry Paul. I was flattered. You could have used anybody. Everybody talks about you because we're all fans of boxing. And we all know this is shenanigans. 8 rounds of garbage. They're like, oh, it's a great fight. It's a great amateur fight that's going 8 rounds with 2 guys that we shouldn't be spending our time watching. We watched it. I watched it. Around some point, they interviewed Logan Paul, who was in the crowd, and Logan Paul said, the Fury family, all the Furies are b****s. I paraphrase. Now, Logan Paul, you fought. You had an exhibition fight versus Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's 72 years old and weighs about 150 pounds. I guarantee you Logan Paul walks around at about 220 pounds. Big dude, young dude. You guys like to talk trash. You said the Fury family, he either said her or why don't you fight Tyson Fury? Fight him in an exhibition match. 8 rounds. Fight a bigger guy. He's 34 years old. You're young. No one's going to ask for PED testing. Do whatever you do. Fight Tyson Fury. Logan Paul, since the Fury family is a bunch of fight him. I would be happy to pay for that. You could charge me $109.99 for that. And since fake Paul lost, he could have his rematch versus Tommy Fury, and they both have these fathers. Fight Tyson Fury. Let your father fight Tyson Fury's father because he looks like he's on that too. Apparently, he's the loudest, biggest, brashest one of them all. Make it a whole night of boxing. The Furies versus the Pauls. Yo, you want to make some money doing something? Exhibition fights. It was an entertaining, low-end, professional fight. I say professional because they both got paid a lot of money, a lot of trash talking. Thank God, somehow, some way, Tommy Fury won by split decision, although he got knocked down in what it looked like it was a grazing knockdown. He slipped and he got punched at the same time. Happens all the time. Why am I even breaking down this fight? I love boxing. But my question, my takeaway from watching this shenanigans, this cosplay, this dress up, amateur exhibition on Sunday is who gets the belt. Fake Paul, you've been walking around with this. You love belts. You got this custom-made goofy belt. Do you give that to Tommy Fury? And Tommy Fury, do you really want a belt made for an 8-round fight? Like, can you wear that with pride? When you watch boxers, Sugar Ray Leonard, Jake LaMotta, Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor, Joe Louis, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Muhammad Ali, Tyson Fury, Lennox Lewis. When you watch these guys win a championship fight and you see them cry, bruisers, tough guys who've went 12 rounds, 15 rounds, put in work, hour after hour, year after year, day after day, training, and they win those belts, you see them cry. And you're walking around with some belt that you got made for yourself. This is why I'm insulted, because I love the sport. You see these guys raise that belt, you see them tears in their eyes because they put that work in, and you're walking around. Who gets to keep that goofy belt that you walk around with so proudly? Fake Paul. It's an insult. And final question is, Mike Rapp, was it worth the $49.99? Was it actually worth the $49.99? And I have to admit, it was. Number one, seeing Fake Paul lose, even though he didn't get his beat, seeing him lose and seeing him make excuses after the fight, say, oh, during this training camp, I got sick, I was injured, and then go back to the humble little white guy. Oh, you know, I never thought that I'd be here. I never thought that I'd be here. I just, you know, I got friends, I got a family, and I never thought that I'd be here. We want the talking after you lose. I want that same energy you had before the fight after you lose. Throwing those ridiculous flailing right hands like you're some college frat boy. That's not boxing where you duck your head and throw a flailing right hand. That's frat boy fighting. You said before the fight, you felt good. Jake, Tommy, Paul, you said your whole name. And then afterwards, oh, I got sick twice. Not once, twice. And I was injured. We want to see that custom-made fake belt. I want that same energy. I don't want, oh, you know, this is, I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of family. And don't judge me by my losses. Don't judge me by my wins. Judge me by my losses. Nobody wants to hear any of that. We don't want to hear any of that.
Are we getting all of the Jake Paul that you can bring tonight? No injuries, no problems. We're coming in 100%.
Yes, sir. You're getting Jake Joseph Paul, the full name. Legendary. Let's get it, baby.
It's time for the truth.
Let's get it, baby. It's time.
How much of your training and strategy was successful tonight?
Honestly, I felt flat. I got sick really bad twice in this camp. Injured my arm. So it wasn't my best performance.
100%. Are we getting all of the Jake Paul that you can bring tonight? No injuries, no problems. We're coming in 100%.
Yes, sir. You're getting Jake Joseph Paul, the full name.
All of the Jake Paul that you can bring tonight. Honestly, I felt flat. I got sick really bad twice in this camp. Injured my arm. So Jake Paul that you can bring tonight.